Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you're following the NFL closely, you already know that the landscape is constantly shifting. Every offseason brings new opportunities, and this year, the Detroit Lions are once again positioning themselves as serious contenders. But what if I told you that a recent trade involving a talented quarterback could shake up everything we thought we knew about the NFC North? That's right. There's some serious buzz around the possibility of the Lions acquiring Zach Wilson from the Miami Dolphins, and I'm here to break down why this move could be a game-changer for Detroit. Let's start with the current situation in Miami. The Dolphins, as you know, have a solid starting quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. He's been the face of that franchise, leading them through some impressive seasons. But what's interesting is that Miami, in their quest to build a deep, competitive roster, went out during free agency and signed Zach Wilson. Now Wilson, for those of you who have been following his career, has shown flashes of potential, but he's also faced a lot of criticism and inconsistency. But the real story here is that Miami also drafted Quinn Ewers in the 7th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. And if you've been watching training camp, you know that Ewers has been turning heads with his impressive play. He's been demonstrating a high football IQ, good arm strength, and a calm presence that's hard to ignore. This naturally creates a question for the Dolphins. What do they do if Ewers keeps impressing, and Wilson continues to be a question mark? The logical move, especially if they see Ewers as the future, is to consider trading Zach Wilson. That's where the Detroit Lions come into the picture. If you think about it, the Lions are in a very good position heading into the 2025 season. Jared Goff has proven to be a reliable, franchise-caliber quarterback, and he's the undisputed starter. But behind him, the backup situation is a bit uncertain. Hendon Hooker, the young quarterback, has shown promise, but he's still relatively unproven. Remember, Hooker missed his entire rookie season due to that torn ACL he suffered in college, and he's only recently started getting meaningful reps. So, if Detroit wants to ensure they've got a dependable backup, especially one with NFL experience and a fresh perspective, trading for Zach Wilson could be a shrewd move. You see, Wilson has accumulated over 200 passing yards and 23 touchdowns in his 3 seasons with the Jets. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Yes, his interception numbers are a concern, but when you look at his adjusted completion rate of nearly 70%, it shows he's capable of making good decisions when given the right support and coaching. The Jets, as we all know, had their struggles, and their offensive scheme didn't always help Wilson succeed. But during his time with the Denver Broncos last season, working under Sean Payton in preseason, he showed some real progress. He looked more comfortable in the pocket, more confident in his throws, and he was developing a better understanding of NFL defenses. Interestingly, during that stint with the Broncos, Wilson also got to know John Morton, who was their pass game coordinator last year. And Morton, as many of you know, is now part of the Lions' offensive staff. So what does this mean for Detroit? Well, it means they're potentially looking at a guy who's still young, with room to develop, and who has shown that he can be a capable NFL quarterback when given the right environment. The Lions are aiming for a deep playoff run, possibly a Super Bowl appearance, and having a reliable backup quarterback is crucial, especially in today's NFL where injuries and unexpected situations are common. If Goff goes down or needs a breather, having Zach Wilson as a backup could be a huge asset. Not to mention, acquiring Wilson might not cost the Lions an arm and a leg in draft picks or players, considering Miami's situation and their desire to free up roster space. Now, let's put this into perspective. The Lions' offense last season was explosive, led by Jared Goff's impressive play, and their defense has been steadily improving. They have a solid core of players, and with a few tweaks, they could be even more dangerous. But the key to any Super Bowl run is stability at quarterback, and if Detroit can bring in a guy like Wilson who's still young and hungry, they could have an insurance policy that's almost too good to ignore. Plus, the familiarity with the Lions' new offensive coordinator, John Morton, could help Wilson get up to speed quickly, making him an even more attractive option for the Lions' front office. And let's not forget, the NFL is always about the next step, the next move that can elevate a team from good to great. The Lions have been building steadily for a few years now, and with their roster, coaching staff, and that playoff experience, they're right there. But sometimes, the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit is having that reliable backup quarterback who can step in seamlessly when needed. That's what makes the idea of trading for Zach Wilson so appealing. It's a low-risk, high-reward move that could pay dividends in big moments. Now, I know some fans might be skeptical. After all, Wilson's career so far hasn't been perfect. He's struggled at times, faced criticism, and there are questions about whether he can truly develop into a top-tier quarterback. But remember, NFL careers aren't made overnight. Sometimes, a change of scenery, a different coaching staff, or simply the right environment can unlock a player's potential. And with the Lions' new offensive coordinator, John Morton, who has NFL experience and a history of developing passers, Wilson could find that environment he needs to thrive. Furthermore, the NFL landscape is shifting. Teams are always looking for that next valuable piece, whether it's a young quarterback with upside or a veteran who can lead when needed. The Lions are in a position where they can be selective, but if the opportunity arises to add Wilson without giving up too much, it's a calculated move that makes sense. Plus, considering the Lions' aspirations, they're not just looking to make the playoffs, they're aiming for a Super Bowl. Having a dependable backup quarterback who can come in and perform under pressure is a key part of that strategy. Looking ahead, this potential trade could also serve as a message to their division rivals. The NFC North is getting more competitive each year, with teams like the Packers, Vikings, and Bears all making moves to improve. The Lions don't want to fall behind, and adding a player like Wilson might just be the piece that pushes them over the edge. It's about building depth, yes, but also about making a statement that Detroit is serious about contending for championships. In the end, all of this hinges on the Lions, front office, and coaching staff. Will they pull the trigger? Will they see the same potential in Wilson that we see? Only time will tell. But what's clear is that the opportunity is there, and smart teams always keep their options open. The NFL is a league of constant motion, and sometimes, the biggest moves come from the most unexpected places. If Detroit manages to bring Wilson into the fold, it could be one of those moves that define their season and maybe even their franchise history. The Lions have been building something special, and this could be the key to unlocking that next level of success. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think trading for Zach Wilson makes sense for Detroit? Are you excited about the potential of having him as a backup, or do you believe they should look elsewhere? Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news. We're in this together, and I can't wait to see how this story unfolds. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Lions!